She woke up and her life wasn't hers anymore. Her own family had stolen her name, her money, even her memories, or tried to. Imagine that, the people you helped raise, methodically dismantling everything you built, piece by insidious piece. It's almost unbelievable, but it happened. I'm Victoria, and on this channel, we talk about the stories that get under your skin, the ones that make you question everything. Today's story, it's one of the most chilling I've ever been told, a story of profound betrayal, calculated cruelty, and the kind of righteous fury that can reshape a life. It comes from a woman I'll call Elena. I met her through my work. She's in her late 70s now, retired. You'd probably picture her as quiet, maybe a bit frail. She spent her life surrounded by books, a respected archivist, dealing in facts, provenance, the quiet truth of history. But beneath that calm exterior, there's a mind like a steel trap, and a core of absolute resilience, forged in fire, a fire lit by her own blood. Elena asked me to share this, not for pity, never for pity, but as a warning and maybe, just maybe, as proof that even when everything seems lost, you can fight back, fiercely. This isn't just about theft, it's about the attempted erasure of a person. Get comfortable, maybe grab a drink, because you need to hear how Elena didn't just survive, she unleashed a storm. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell, because you absolutely do not want to miss where this goes. Now let me take you back. Let Elena tell you, in her own words, what they did and what she did next. The transition might feel abrupt, but this is her voice now, her experience, her fury. It started subtly, didn't it always? Brenda, my niece, and Gary, my nephew, my sister's children, after Marion passed, years ago now, I stepped in, tried to be there for them. Holidays, birthdays, helped with college funds, down payments, whatever they needed. I thought we were close. I loved them, like my own. They started visiting more often, after I retired, especially Brenda, always bringing little treats, checking in, asking about my health, my finances. Just making sure you're okay, Auntie Elle, she'd say, her voice like warm honey. Gary was quieter, more awkward, but always there, nodding along, offering to fix things around the house. Small things, a dripping faucet, a sticky window. Looking back, the signs were there, tiny little flags. I just didn't want to see them. Who would, who suspects their own family of malice? I started feeling off, forgetful, more than usual, confused sometimes, little lapses, misplacing things, names slipping away. I went to my doctor. He adjusted my medications, blood pressure, a mild thyroid issue. Nothing major, he said, just part of getting older. Brenda became very involved, attending appointments with me, managing my prescriptions. It's too much for you to keep track of, Auntie Elle, she'd chirp, picking them up from the pharmacy, sorting them into my weekly pill organizer. Such a helpful girl, everyone said, so devoted. The fog, it grew thicker. Some days were fine, others felt like wadding through mud. I'd find myself agreeing to things, vaguely remembering conversations, but the details, hazy. Gary handled some online banking for me. Just helping you stay organized, Aunt Elle, he'd mumble, showing me statements. Everything looked fine on the surface. They suggested getting power of attorney. Just in case, Auntie Elle, if something happens, we can make sure your bills are paid, your wishes are followed. It sounded sensible, responsible even. In that fog, I signed the papers. My lawyer, a nice young man Brenda recommended, said it was standard, prudent. That's when things truly accelerated. The fog wasn't just age or my diagnosed conditions, it was manufactured. I had a collection, rare books, first editions, maps, my life's passion, gathered over decades, worth a significant amount, but more than that, they were my legacy, my connection to history, to discovery. One day I went to pull out a favorite, a signed first edition Hemingway. It wasn't there, in its place, a cheap reprint. My heart started pounding. I checked others, a medieval manuscript. Gone, replaced with a facsimile, a portfolio of antique maps. Vanished, empty sleeves. Panic clawed at my throat. I called Brenda, hysterical. Auntie Elle, calm down, she soothed. You probably just misplaced them. You've been so forgetful lately. Remember, you were talking about maybe selling some, to simplify things. I would never. These weren't just things, they were part of me. Then the bank statements started looking wrong, large withdrawals I didn't recognize, credit card bills for purchases I never made, online stores, luxury goods, travel. Gary assured me it was identity theft. Someone must have gotten my details. He was handling it, filing reports, changing passwords. He showed me emails, police report numbers. It all looked official, but the money kept disappearing, my savings dwindling fast. They isolated me, subtly at first. Friends would call, Brenda would answer. Oh, Auntie Elle's resting, she's a bit confused today. Messages weren't passed on, visits were discouraged. It tires her out so much. They painted a picture of a frail, declining old woman, losing her grip, needing their constant care, their constant control. The house felt different, colder, emptier, even with them buzzing around. Their false concern like a suffocating blanket. I felt trapped, inside my own life, my own mind. They started talking about assisted living, just to make sure you have the best care, Auntie Elle, round-the-clock support. They showed me brochures, glossy pictures of smiling seniors. It felt like a prison sentence. Was I losing my mind? Was this dementia? The doubt, it was poison, seeping into every thought. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was confused. Maybe I did imagine selling the books. Maybe I was spending money recklessly. That doubt, that insidious gaslighting, was their most powerful weapon, more potent than any stolen dollar, any forged signature. It nearly broke me, nearly convinced me to surrender, to fade away quietly, just like they wanted. The turning point, it wasn't dramatic, not a big confrontation. It was small, almost insignificant, but it cut through the fog like a laser beam. Brenda had refilled my pill organizer. As always, later that evening, I dropped it. Pills scattered across the bathroom floor. Annoyed, foggy, I started picking them up. My usual thyroid pill, small, white, round, but there, under the vanity, was a different white pill. Similar, but slightly larger, slightly flatter. And another, they weren't mine. I knelt there, the scattered pills like tiny pieces of a puzzle. My mind, suddenly sharp, focused. Why were there extra pills, different pills? I managed to gather a few, hide them. My heart was hammering against my ribs. A different kind of fog started to lift, not the fog of confusion, but the fog of misplaced trust. The next day, I pretended to be more confused than ever, more compliant. I needed to think, I needed proof. I remembered my old friend Martha. We worked together at the university archive for years, sharp as a tack, retired now too, but still consulted on digital forensics, authenticity, tracking down obscure data. We hadn't spoken in months, thanks to Brenda's gatekeeping. I waited until Brenda and Gary went out. Shopping for Auntie Elle, they'd said cheerfully. I used the old library computer in my study, hoping Gary hadn't wiped it completely, praying he hadn't monitored everything. I found Martha's email. My hands were shaking as I typed. A simple message. Martha, need your help. Urgent, trust no one. Elena. She replied within the hour. Meet me tomorrow, usual coffee shop. 10 a.m. Come alone. Getting out alone was the first hurdle. I feigned a sudden craving for a specific pastry from a bakery across town, insisted I needed fresh air, made myself seem frail, confused but stubborn. Brenda hesitated, then relented, probably thinking I couldn't manage it or wouldn't remember why I went. Gary drove me, waited impatiently in the car. Seeing Martha, it was like finding an anchor in a storm. I told her everything. The fog, the missing books, the money, the strange pills. I gave her the pills I'd hidden. Her face grew colder, harder as I spoke. Elena, she said finally, her voice low, intense. This isn't just confusion, this is deliberate. Those pills, I'll get them tested, but I suspect they're sedatives, or something to induce confusion, something to make you compliant, malleable. And the books, the money, power of attorney, she spat the words. They have control. They're bleeding you dry and making you think you're crazy while they do it. The confirmation, it didn't bring relief, it brought ice, a chilling clarity, betrayal, so complete, so calculated. It wasn't just greed, it was cruelty. They wanted to erase me, my mind, my legacy, my existence. Right then, sitting in that noisy coffee shop, something inside me shifted. The hurt, the fear, it was still there, but it crystallized into something else, something cold, hard, pure, unadulterated, rage, not the hot, flailing kind, but the deep, glacial kind, the kind that fuels focus, strategy, retribution. They thought I was a frail, confused old woman. They thought they had won. They had no idea who they were dealing with. They forgot. I spent my life uncovering truths hidden in faded ink and crumbling paper. I knew how to research, how to document, how to follow a trail, and I knew how to be patient. Martha became my lifeline, my secret weapon. She analyzed the pills, confirmed they were mild sedatives, mixed with something that could interfere with memory, not enough to kill, just enough to disable. She helped me set up secure communication, encrypted emails, a burner phone. My mind, freed from the chemical fog, slowly started working again. Sharper each day, I played the part, the confused, slightly dotty Auntie L, while behind the mask I was gathering my arsenal. First, documentation, every conversation, every inconsistency, dates, times, words. I kept a hidden journal, tiny handwriting, coded notes like archiving a hostile takeover of my own life. Martha used her forensic skills, digital trails. Gary wasn't as clever as he thought. He used traceable IP addresses, left digital footprints everywhere, online sales platforms, rare book dealer sites, auction houses. We found them, my stolen treasures, being sold off, one by one. Brenda's spending, lavish trips, designer clothes, spa days, all funded by my dwindling accounts, accessed through the POA. We gathered bank statements, credit card records, showing the siphon, the systematic drain, compared Gary's official reports of identity theft with the actual transactions. The lies were blatant, once you knew where to look. Martha found the lawyer Brenda recommended. He wasn't just nice, he was indebted to Brenda's husband, a puppet, willing to look the other way, ignore the obvious red flags. We needed more, something undeniable, something theatrical, because justice wasn't just about getting my money back, it was about exposure, annihilation of their carefully crafted image. I remembered my old security system, installed years ago after a minor break-in. Gary had supposedly upgraded it, said the old cameras were faulty, but I knew where the old wiring ran, and I remembered a couple of the old cameras, small ones, hidden in bookshelves, decorative objects. He hadn't found them all, or hadn't bothered, thinking me too far gone to notice or care. With Martha's remote guidance, using burner phones, I managed to get 2 of them working again, feeding to a hidden cloud storage account Martha set up. The quality wasn't great, grainy, sometimes muffled audio, but it was enough. It captured Brenda, meticulously swapping my pills, her smug little smile as she dropped the wrong ones into the organizer. It captured Gary, boasting on the phone about how easy it was, how Auntie L is completely out of it, how they'd soon have her safely tucked away and the house sold. It captured them forging my signature on documents, laughing about it. Hearing them, seeing them, it fueled the ice in my veins. Patience, Elena, patience. The plan formed, cold, precise, ruthless, perhaps, but what they did deserved nothing less. Brenda loved playing the martyr, the devoted niece. She was chairing a fundraising committee for a local arts council. A big gala event was coming up, the pinnacle of her social climbing. Gary, basking in her reflected glory, always hovering nearby. This would be the stage. Martha helped me connect with a new lawyer, Fierce, independent, specialized in elder abuse and financial fraud, we presented our evidence, the pill analysis, the financial records, the hidden camera footage. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. They won't know what hit them, she promised. We also contacted the dealers, the auction houses, who had handled my stolen books and art, presented proof of ownership, provenance records I still possessed, threatened legal action. Most were reputable, horrified to be involved. They agreed to cooperate, freeze assets, provide testimony. The day of the gala arrived. I declined to attend. Feeling a bit tired, dear, I told Brenda sweetly. She patted my hand. Rest up, Auntie Elle, we'll tell you all about it. Her condescending smile made my blood run cold. Good, let her think I was fadding. The lawyer timed it perfectly. As Brenda stood at the podium, basking in the applause, accepting accolades for her charitable work, the police arrived, quietly at first, then, more visibly, they approached Brenda. Gary, murmurs rippled through the elegantly dressed crowd. Simultaneously, our lawyer served papers, liens on their assets, freezing their accounts, civil suits detailing the fraud, the theft, the manipulation. But that wasn't the main event. Martha, bless her digital heart, had arranged a little presentation using the gala's own AV system, remotely accessed. Suddenly, the large screens behind the stage flickered, the gala logo disappeared, replaced by grainy footage from my hidden cameras. Brenda swapping pills, her face clear, smug, Gary on the phone, laughing about my confusion, detailing their plan, them forging signatures, mocking me. Silence fell over the ballroom, utter, stunned silence, broken only by Brenda's horrified gasp, Gary's face drained of all colour. The footage played on loop, just a few key moments, devastating, undeniable. Then my voice, recorded earlier, clear, strong, amplified through the speakers. This is what my niece Brenda and my nephew Gary have been doing while pretending to care for me. They drugged me, stole my life savings, my treasured possessions, my identity. They tried to steal my mind. They tried to erase me, but they underestimated me. The police moved in then, escorted a sobbing Brenda and a shell-shocked Gary out of the ballroom, through the crowd of stunned, horrified faces, their social world incinerated in minutes. The fallout was swift and brutal, criminal charges, fraud, theft, elder abuse, conspiracy. The evidence was overwhelming. The public exposure ensured no leniency. The lawyer Brenda used, disbarred, facing his own charges. Their assets frozen, liquidated, to repay what they stole. It didn't cover everything, but it was a start. The stolen books and art mostly recovered, though some pieces were lost forever, sold to private collectors overseas, a painful loss, but bearable. They lost their homes, their friends, their reputations, utterly destroyed. Brenda's husband divorced her, publicly condemning her actions. Gary's fiancée left him. Their names became synonymous with betrayal in our community. Prison sentences followed, not as long as I'd have liked. The justice system has its limits, but long enough for them to understand consequences. And me. I reclaimed my life, my home, my finances, painstakingly rebuilt, fortified, new lawyers, new accountants, ironclad protections. No one would ever have that kind of access again. The fog lifted completely, my mind, sharp, clear, perhaps even sharper than before, tempered by the ordeal. I reconnected with true friends, the ones Brenda and Gary had pushed away. There was embarrassment, apologies, but mostly warmth, support, relief. Do I feel peace? Yes, a quiet, steady peace, but it's laced with steel, a wariness that will never leave me. Trust, once shattered so profoundly, never fully mends the same way. Was it ruthless? What I did, orchestrating their public humiliation? Perhaps some might call it vengeance. I call it necessary. They didn't just steal money, They tried to annihilate my spirit, my identity. That required an equally forceful response, a reassertion of my existence, my strength. They thought the quiet librarian, the agging aunt, was an easy mark. They forgot. Librarians are guardians of truth, archivists, masters of detail, and sometimes the quietest people have the fiercest roar when pushed too far. My legacy isn't just my books anymore, it's this story, the story of how I fought back, not just for me, but for everyone deemed disposable, invisible, too old, too frail, too trusting. Never underestimate the fury of a woman reclaiming her life. Wow, just wow, Victoria, back with you here. Take a breath. I know I needed one after Alina finished telling me that. The sheer calculation, the cruelty of what Brenda and Gary did, it's staggering, drugging her, systematically isolating her, stealing not just her money and possessions, but trying to steal her sanity, her sense of self. It's monstrous. And Alina, her transformation, from that fog of confusion and despair to that cold, precise rage, the way she used her own skills, her archivist's mind, her network, to gather evidence, to plan that devastating reveal, it's incredible, truly. That final act, the Gala exposure, some might question the method, public humiliation on top of legal justice. Was it too much? Was it pure revenge? Or was it the only way to truly reclaim her narrative, to show the world the truth they tried so hard to bury? This story, it sits heavy, doesn't it? It makes you think about trust, about family, about the hidden strengths we all possess, especially when we're pushed to the absolute limit. If you found Alina's story as compelling, as shocking, as ultimately vindicating as I did, let me know in the comments below. What part hit you the hardest? Do you think her response was justified, necessary? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this one. It's a lot to process. And please, if this resonated with you, share it. Maybe it reaches someone who needs to hear that fighting back, even when it feels impossible, is always an option. Sometimes righteous anger is the fuel you need. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We share powerful stories like Alina's here every week, stories of resilience, survival, and sometimes intense justice. Thank you for listening, really listening, to Alina's journey. It took immense courage for her to share it, and I hope it stays with you. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and take care.